Welcome to Creators Live, everybody. Thank you for turning your camera on, Valerie and Emily. Good job, guys. You guys know the drill. Tara, I know you're new here. Thank you for joining us. Tara is brand new with her brand new FreeJet. Just trained her yesterday myself. So thank you so much for joining us, Tara. So for those of you who are new, I see we have a couple of attendees. We're going to invite you to become panelists. That way you can turn on your camera, you can interact, you can ask questions, raise your hand, all that good stuff, so you can get everything you need out of today's session. Because at the end of the day, this is all for you guys. The whole point is to deliver value and ask all the questions you can think of, all that good stuff. So if you're in the attendees list, we're going to invite you to become a panelist, accept it. All right, so we'd like to start off with some wins here. My win for today, and this can kind of blanket into Tara, so you get a pass for today because I didn't warn you ahead of time. I just finished training Tara, and she's doing a great job so far. We spoke this morning, and my win is I got her to come on and join our show, and hopefully she becomes one of our regulars. So, woo, Tara, welcome to the group. And I would like to invite Valerie.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
So I have been taking some orders, getting ready to do some t-shirts for Juneteenth, and also getting more and more calls for film. So, and I have another business order pending. So I'm getting excited that business is picking up.
Picking up. Good, good. We got to keep it on that trend. I like it.
Yes, yes.
Oh, we got Yvonne. Yvonne, let's hear from you.
Actually, we have two. One of the regulars in Creators Live ordered some patches from us. So Michael did patches for someone. And I had successful back surgery last week.
Yay! Glad it went well. Nice. Now time to heal, and then you'll get to tell us, yay, I'm done recovering. Good, good, good. Okay, so let's get into the content. Daniel, you should have been, it looks like you got your panelist invite. So we're going to get into the content for today. We're working on the FreeJet again. I've been hung up on the maintenance and those maybe not so talked about items for the equipment. And for today, we're going to do calibration type content. So we're going to be going over how to do your printhead alignment, because I do see a number of folks are maybe confused for how to do that, or maybe never have done it before. We're going to go over adjusting your table height sensors and make sure that those are good, and checking if the gantry is square on the tracks, which is really easy, and we're going to start with that one. I find these really important because I do see a lot of folks are either getting new equipment, transporting their equipment, or acquiring equipment from other folks who no longer want to be in the business or can't afford to stay in the business. So for those who are acquiring used machines or transporting their equipment, these might be important calibrations to keep in mind. So we talked, what was it, last week, about how to pack the machine for transportation, maybe the week before. And that involved these yellow shipping brackets here on the back of the gantry. The reason that you secure those is to make sure that the gantry doesn't get twisted up in either direction on the tracks, because it runs on two belts and it has to run straight front and back in order to have good alignment. So I'm going to show you a really easy way to check the alignment. And to do that, we're going to have the printer off. And all you do, let's cut back to the wide for just a second. We're going to push the gantry all the way to the front. So we want to line this up so that the front of the gantry, where the blue and silver seam is, right here. So we're going to line up the front of the gantry to that seam and see if it's straight. So in this case, mine is looking good. And I'm going to simulate what it would look like if it was off, but you wouldn't want to do this intentionally. I'm going to kind of twist it up here. on the track. So if it was off, usually if you transport it in the back of the car, maybe one of your buddies was helping you to carry the machine and they might have carried it by the gantry. This can get kind of crooked. So you'll see on this end, the front of the gantry is lined up on that seam. And over here, I have maybe about a 1/4 inch of space between the gantry and that seam. So that's something that you would want to correct before printing. And all you do, you're going to put one hand on the opposite corner, one hand on the closest corner, and you're just going to do a gentle twist. And you'll hear it skip on the track, and then you can line it up, and we're looking good. Push the gantry back, and we can turn it back on. Any questions about that so far? All right. Daniel says, hi everyone, missed a portion, wasn't logged in correctly. Good win here. More orders than I can keep up with. Still not advertising. Sorry for the video off. Just got home and I'm eating dinner. Yeah, it's about that time for you East Coast folks. So I don't blame you, Daniel. Thank you for sharing your win. It's always good to hear about those. We always need some positivity in business because a lot of people focus on money, 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 and how much money they're not making. And it's important to focus on, you know, the day-to-day, these are the things that I'm succeeding at. So I always appreciate you guys sharing. Thank you for joining us, Tony, Matthew, Natrinia. See you guys got in here and have your cameras on. Appreciate it. Okay, so our next adjustment that we're gonna do is the height sensors, which are really, really extremely important. So the height sensors here and over here, these guys determine how close the print head can get when you do your height adjustment. So it's a little brake sensor, so when you get something in the way, it stops the table from being able to go up further. So sometimes during transport, or if you adjust your platen wrong and it can ding the little sensor, the height sensors can become misaligned through transportation, or it gets dinged, something like that, mishandled. Maybe you were taking a shirt off and it gets caught on it. I've had that happen in the past, and you yank it and it kicks this thing upwards. So you want to be aware of your height sensors. So what we're going to do today is realign them. I expect it to be pretty much on point because we get very consistent prints on this machine, but it's something for you guys to check if you've recently moved the machine or you find that your prints are always a little bit blurry. That's something to look at. So first is to just check and see how close the print head gets to the table when I do the height adjustment. So what you'll do is go down, you'll do front, up until it won't go up anymore, and then you'll do function up, undock the head. So we're gonna move this forward, but what we want to look at, actually mine looks like it's maybe a little bit far. So what we want to see is how close it gets. If it's too close, so see, it wasn't all the way up actually. I was able to hit the up button and it was able to go up some more. For those of you who don't know, right here at the front of the printer, there's up and down buttons, and you can use that for things like this when you're not necessarily over by the control panel. So we will bring it forward. Okay, so I've got one of our swabs here, the cleaning swabs that we sell in the OmniPrint store. And what I'm gonna do is run this underneath the print head. If it gets close enough to make contact with the print head and not get caught, that's what we're looking for. So the thickness of the swab. So in this case, mine has a little bit too much space. So we're going to adjust it and try it again. because you want to run it under and not make contact. And you want to make sure that when you're running it, I'm going to back up the gantry here. When you're running the swab underneath, that it's flat. It's really easy to get it slightly at an angle, and then you can kind of end up tricking yourself that it's looking good, and really it's not. So if you're under warranty, I would recommend you do this under supervision of a technician. If you're not under warranty, you can use this as a baseline resource and use your best judgment. Okay, so needs a little bit of work. What we're gonna do is go ahead and loosen the screw that secures our height sensor in place. We're gonna loosen it just a little bit. We're gonna tilt it up. Let's see. We're a little bit far, so I want to tilt it up a little bit, tighten it, and then we'll try again. We'll go down, up, and check it. So it's gonna look like this. Just loosen it enough so that you can just barely raise it up. So I don't know if you guys could tell. Okay, and then we're gonna go down, back up. I gotta bring that gantry forward again so that we can check it. Okay, all right, so let's see how it is now. So now I am actually a little bit too close. I can't run my swab all the way under. So what we'll do is loosen it and down just a little bit. And you want to hold it in place while you tighten it. Try it again. Down and up. A little bit better, but not quite still. So I'll loosen it some more. You don't want to loosen it too much, otherwise it falls down a lot. I almost had that happen just now. Down, up, and check. Almost got it. I am maybe making this a little more difficult than I need to by having myself in the corner here. A little bit restricted, but so that you guys can see. Okay. Still just barely too far away. And I want to emphasize also, you only really need to do this if you're having bad prints. If there's nothing wrong with the prints, it's not worth going through this and maybe throwing it off worse. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it is really the bottom line. Okay, so we're looking good. I was able to run my swab underneath. It's firm, but doesn't get caught. So that's what we're looking for. So we have a nice spacing there, and I can now hit function. Dock the head. Canon has a question. Go ahead.
You don't have to worry about the other side, just the left side only?
Oh, so that's a great point. The sensor that you want to adjust is the long bar on the, I guess technically it's gantry right, opposite to the control panel, because that's going to be the easier one to adjust. The one that has a shorter bar is the one that you want to leave stationary. And you definitely don't want to try them both together, unless you really mess up your sensors. Great question. Okay, all right, so the last main one I wanted to cover today, I need some super cleaner. The last one I wanted to cover was printing the printhead alignment and how to interpret that. I've had a number of people asking me about it lately, and I find it useful to preload you guys with that information so that you can check it yourself. And just like with the other one, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Don't go doing a printhead alignment when you're getting good prints. This is a diagnostic tool. This is not preventative maintenance like the stuff we usually do. You only need to know about these if it's not printing how you want it to. So your first step for the printhead alignment, have a nice clean platen. We're going to be printing on here, and we're going to set the layer setting on the control panel to C. This is one of the few times that you're going to change it to C, or anything other than A and B. So in case it's been a while since you've done that, first we need the control panel on. Press and hold power till it beeps. Open the clips while I'm at it. And while that starts up, I'll move over to the computer. Plug in my USB cable behind me so that I can get out. Let's move this a little bit. It's going to do its ink chip reset here. Okay, in the meantime, I'll get into my Epson driver, printing preferences. I'll get into the maintenance tab, and I'll leave it there. We're going to go ahead and do a prime, because I haven't used this printer in a while, and we want this white ink to be flowing nicely before we do the printhead alignment so we can tell how it's looking. So we'll go ahead and do that. Looking good. So one other thing I wanted to mention, so any kind of part replacement or work that I've done on this machine has typically been live. The only exception to that is after last week's race between this and the Omni DTF, I did notice that my pump was not draining on one side, and I did replace it. So we're going to be making some content about pump replacement next week, I think, or maybe sometime this week, but that's in the pipeline because that was something that I didn't get a chance to get on camera. So this guy's running a brand new pump. So we'll do one head cleaning, and then we'll get going into the printhead alignment. Any other questions? It could be, unrelated to what we're working on right now.
I have a question.
Let's see, is that Daniel?
Yes, sir.
All right, lay it on me, sir.
All right, I was wondering about, and it's very fundamental, so don't laugh. The ink for the 330TX Plus. Can I use, right now I'm using the Gamut Plus. Is that thing capable of using that or the hybrid, or is one of those better than the other for that particular printer? Specifically doing it to film.
You have it the other way around. So the hybrid ink, so it's based on which printhead you have. So your machine, the FreeJet models, the Gamut inks are designed for that printhead. The Gamut Plus hybrid inks are designed for the i3200 printheads, which are running in the i2 and the Omni DTF.
Okay.
So the ink specs need to be different for the different printheads. They each have their own requirements. So the hybrid inks are designed for that printhead, and just the standard Gamut Plus is for the FreeJet.
So these guys right here, that's good for my 330TX Plus, right?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's the standard Gamut Plus.
Thank you.
Of course. That's actually a really good question that I find actually a lot of people have, so thank you for asking. Cannon has another question. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I ran into another issue that I've never ran into before, and I think somebody had talked to this before, and it's, okay, so when I power up right now, I'm getting the power button, the error flashing, and then I have the blue light that goes on. And I tried to reset it a couple of times, and it does not reset. So then I try to do a head cleaning and it won't let me do a head clean. So I go into the maintenance part where we're talking about, we're going to go to now. And then I say, I put on there, you know, go ahead and head clean. And it gives me this error saying that a problem has occurred. Click details for more information. I click the details.
Okay.
And then what it does is it goes and says, hey, you don't have enough ink. Okay. So then what I do is, and then I select okay. And then it releases the error light. And then I'm able to head clean and all that, but it won't let me print. It gives me the same repetitiveness.
But the error light is on, not the ink light?
That is correct. It's the error light, the red light next to the power.
Are you by your printer right now?
Yeah, I could.
Okay, here's what I want you to do. You're gonna have it on with the power light on.
Okay.
Power light's solid, right? Not flashing?
That is correct.
Hit the standby button. Gantry goes forward. You're gonna tap the feeding button. And let us know in a little bit. I'm going to continue with the content, but let us know if that has any effect. If, you know, the head moves, I would expect that the head moves over maybe like a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch. Tap it one more time once the head stops moving, and the gantry should come back to the home position. I would expect the error light to turn off. If that doesn't do the trick, I'm going to have you stick around and leave your ticket number in the chat so that I can see what, if anything, is happening with it.
Okay, and just tap. We're not holding that down like we do.
Correct.
To do it. Okay, good. Okay, great. And then, yeah, I'll do that while I'm still watching. Okay.
Okay, yeah, let us know later on. Okay, so we have the printer up and running, ready to go for the print head alignment. So what we're going to do, we're going to set this to layer C so that it can do all of the different prints for the print head alignment charts all at the same time, and I don't have to keep hitting standby. So we're going to do function, 4 seconds, status light will turn solid, let go, and then we're going to set that to layer C and hit function 1 time. So layer C, for those of you who have never used it, will print 3 layers before you would need to hit standby. So it'll do, if you were printing a t-shirt, it would print the layer of white, come back, do the color, and then it'll come back for 1 more pass, but traditional t-shirt prints will not use 3-layer printing. So that's why we don't typically use it, but for print head alignment, we will be using it. Valerie, you have a question before we print it?
Yes, so when you said that, so when I first got my printer, the color and the white, it was on like an automatic. I did not have to hit standby. And somewhere in one of the sessions where I had a ticket, it got changed. So is there a way to get it where the gantry would automatically, after each color print, go back? So once the white prints, to automatically print the color instead of me having to hit the standby button?
Yes, yeah. So you would do that same thing that I just did, but you'll set it to layer B instead of layer A that you have it on now.
Thank you.
That's going to be a game changer.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was doing that, and I didn't realize what happened in the technical call, so I didn't know how to change it back. Got it. Thank you.
Of course. Okay, all right. So on the Epson driver, we're in the maintenance tab. I'm going to click print head alignment. We're going to do manual. You don't want to do automatic. We'll click OK. I need to do my function rear. Okay, and then we're going to print. And once you print, on the screen, it gives you the message. Look at the alignment sheet. Find the square without any visible bands in set number 1 through 3. Select the number that corresponds to the square from the list below for all sets. So I have a little drop-down list of numbers 1 through 9 on 3 different sections. So it's going to be printing those sections right now, and we'll compare what it prints and look at which square is the most complete. If every square contains a band, select the square with the thinnest band or bands. Then click realignment. So if one of them is on if one of them is looking perfect, oh yeah, mine kind of needs it. Wow, good thing we're doing this. So it's going to be printing these patterns. We're going to look at which one looks the best, select it on here, and then we uncheck the box. And that'll tell it this, this channel is looking the best. Okay, that's 2. It's going to come back for the third grouping here. And I'll use my little swab here as a pointer. Okay, doing the third one here now. Okay, while this is going, it's almost finished, but Canon, have you already tried what I recommended? Did that work out for you?
Yeah, so is that going to be all the time, or did that fix it?
Well, did it clear that flashing error?
Yeah, so what happened was I already, because we leave it on, and of course it does its own, does the mixing of the white okay.
Sure.
So I hit the power. It's a lot of times it won't, how it filters through with the pump and stuff like that.
Okay.
It wasn't doing that before, and then at this time it did. And I thought, oh, okay, it's not going to give me the error light. But after it got done doing its startup, it wound up giving me the error light, and then I hit the standby, like you said, hit the feeding. When I hit the feeding, it looked like it was going to start, and it lined it up like it was going to start printing. Then I hit the feeding again, and it went away.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, it did it.
But is that going to be? Do you have a reason for this? Why you decided to go that route? And
yeah. So typically the flashing error light will be like an interrupted job. So the machine only received partial instructions before it was disconnected.
Okay.
So what we did there is sent it to the front and then basically cleared the print queue. That's what doing the feeding like that told the machine.
Okay, got it. And then if it keeps going on, then we got a problem. But if not, we're good.
Yeah, I would say if it happens again, that might be more of like a USB cable is loose and disconnecting mid-print, or some other problem, maybe process related, or maybe related to your table shaking too much. It's difficult to say. But based on that clearing up the error, I don't suspect anything mechanical or electrical wrong with the machine. Yeah, I would say do the first print and see how it looks. So I'm going to show the camera right now to the best of my ability here. I forgot to give Joel a warning on that. So we got to get in and we got to see these lines, Joel. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Okay, so you guys can see that there's bands in the print maybe. Might be kind of small depending on the screen you're viewing it on, but I have it numbered 1 through 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8, 9 here. So what the instructions are telling me is to look at these patterns and choose if one is good. So if one has no bands. In this case, they all have bands, so I'm going to choose the least bad one, which I'm thinking might be number 9. It looks like it maybe has the thinnest bands. And then on grouping number 2, looks like number 9 takes the cake again. And on grouping number 3, I think I'm leaning towards 9 also. So we're going to do 9s across the board. We're going to wipe it off and we're going to click Printhead Realignment. So I still have some, I don't have enough cleaner on there actually. So we're going to wipe it off, print it again, and it'll be a little bit of a process to do this. It's not going to be, you print it twice and you're done. Sometimes, depending on how bad it is, it'll be you print it, quite a few times. So I'll set this down here. Wipe it off. Standby. On the computer, I'm picking number 9. across the board. Gonna click realignment, print, and it gives me that same screen again. So now I'm gonna compare the second pattern it prints and go from there. Who here has already done this before? Michael and Yvonne have. You guys are pros. Is there anything that I've talked about that you don't already know? You guys could be teaching this. Should we have a Creators Live hosted by Michael and Yvonne?
Yes.
How often should we do that?
The printhead alignment?
Yeah.
So this one's going to be as needed. If you just can't get your white and your color layers to line up, or you see that it's blurry, or seeing other print quality issues that other troubleshooting doesn't resolve, then you would check your printhead alignment and see how bad that initial pattern is. If it's pretty much spot on in the first pattern, I wouldn't recommend continuing. But if it's as bad as the one that I showed you, where every square has pretty severe bands in it, then you are inclined to go ahead and continue this.
Okay, you said there's a video out there for it as well, right?
We do have the instructions on our knowledge base. It's written instructions. For those of you who don't have the link to the knowledge base page, Mauricio is going to drop it here into the chat. That's an extremely valuable resource if you don't already leverage it. We have articles for how-tos on a variety of different things.
Hey, Daniel, the one thing that Michael and I did before we got the I2 was and this is going to sound silly, but we went to the dollar store. They sell kids' t-shirts. They sell, some Dollar Trees sell adult shirts as well. And we invested in some of those, a couple totes worth, so that every time we were doing a different graphic or we came in the next day, we would always run a test print, and we had those shirts to test on instead of your good shirts.
Very smart, very smart.
Okay, so let's take a look at our pattern again. Let's see, get this in here. Let's see, where's the top? There it is. Okay, so if I'm looking at the pattern for number one, grouping number one, I'm liking 9 again. For grouping number 2, number 9 has no bands. And for grouping number 3, number 9 is the best again. So let me see number 9 here. You see there's no lines in this one compared to these ones. So that's what we're looking for all of the numbers that we pick. So we'll go ahead and set this back. So we got 2 9s, and I'm going to uncheck grouping number 2 because that one is looking good on number 9. Okay. And we go again. And realignment, print. Okay, I want to ask someone some questions because this takes a while and it's a little bit too quiet. I want to pick on Tara. Let's hear from you, Tara. Are you able to answer some questions about your initial experience with the equipment after our training?
Sure.
Cool. Okay, so so I gave you some training yesterday, and I wanted to know what questions you still have about the equipment, because this group is extremely knowledgeable, super helpful. They know things, you know, beyond just the equipment that maybe you might find valuable.
Oh gosh, let me get my list out. I'm just kidding. One of the questions I have is how to utilize, like when you're doing the DTF especially, how do you utilize the, how do you, like, you know, the logo that I was printing.
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying to turn that today and like widen it a little bit so I could get like a little bit of a wider print so it covered more of the 3X shirts. And it wouldn't work for me. So if anybody has any tips on how to do that.
So do you mean you want to make the graphic wider?
For the back of the shirt.
On the back of the shirt specifically.
Right.
Well, one thing you can do that actually we didn't talk about in training is rotate the image, and then you would load your, oh, well, I guess you're doing DTF. So you would just have your DTF sheet on there, and you would rotate your image and make it more wide. That might be a way to accomplish that. So in the RIP software, you would go to Image, and then there's Rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise or clockwise. So maybe that would help.
Yeah, I did that, and it like, I can't remember the error message it gave me, but it gave me like, it wouldn't print it because, I don't know, I can't remember.
Oh, I think I know the error message. Image data span is more than one page.
Yes.
Yeah, so that one is telling you that your margins plus your image size is bigger than your print area.
Okay. So I remembered how to go and do the margins because I had forgotten that. So I did that. Okay, so maybe tomorrow I'll work on that. And if I have any questions, I guess I'll just ask.
Yeah, go ahead and text me.
So I mean, I today was a little hectic, as you already know.
Yep.
So but other than that, I'm excited. I'm a little intimidated.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I mean, I guess that's a process. What I want to know is, does it get easier? Because I know that muscle memory is, you know, does make a difference, but it just, I feel very overwhelmed, like getting even things straight and then not burning myself on the heat press and, you know, those types of things. So if anybody even has any tips on how to even align the DTF so it's good, you know, so you're not getting it crooked. Do you do that before you put it in the printer? Do you do that? How do you guys do that?
Tara, sometimes some people, they'll like fold their shirt in half and get a center point, and then fold your graphic in half and put tiny little clips at either end, and then decide how far down you want to come from the bottom of your collar, and just line up those little slits on either end of the graphic with your center line, and you'll be good to go.
Okay, I just want to make sure because I know, well, I guess the ink is dry now, so it won't damage it at all. But and then do you have any tips for when you're putting it in the, I think we got pretty straight prints yesterday on the, well, we didn't actually do the DTG yesterday.
We did white shirts yesterday, and I think you had it pretty good. Yeah, you straightened it out pretty nicely.
Okay, I'll keep working on that though. I think that's just a matter of practice, and
practice makes perfect, of course.
Okay, all right.
Valerie, you have your hand raised?
Yes, I have a question while we're talking about the different things. My question is on the ink. So I know I have the FreeJet 330TX. So I am more with being able to expand as far as doing blended garments. Can I do any with the existing ink? And if I want to expand, do I have any options as far as ink goes?
So you're trying to print more things with the ink that you have is.
So the ink that I have, the DuPont, is for cotton only. Is that correct? 100% cotton, or can I do?
You can do blend up to a 50-50 blend. You want to stay away from dominantly polyester or synthetic materials.
With the ink that I have?
Yeah, with the DuPont inks.
Okay. Is there another ink that I can use? I guess the question would be interchangeable between if I was doing other t-shirts to do, would it be another station, wires? Is that even optional without having to use my sublimation printer?
So what I would recommend if you're needing to do synthetics with the machine that you have and the inks that you have without changing anything, you're going to do it with DTF.
Right, but if the customer doesn't like the feel of DTF, so I'm just so right now, of course, the catch is I can't do white with sublimation. So then I have the DTF. I have the DTG. I do have the option of film, so I like that. But the in between, as far as the tri-blend or wicking, moisture wicking, or any of that, is that pretty much just I'm gonna have to just keep sticking with the embroidery for that type of fabric?
So moisture wicking will be tricky for DTG regardless, because these are water-based inks and it's meant to, you know, kind of interfere with water in the fibers. So this printing method is not very, very compatible. You can kind of overcome it with enough pre-treatment on the Plus. So using the Gamut Plus inks, you can sometimes overcome the moisture wicking process-wise. But with the 330TX, the moisture wicking is definitely a no-go. Dominantly synthetic fibers are a no-go, polyester no. But 50-50 blends, dominantly cotton, natural fibers, that's all going to be easy. There is the capability to basically upgrade the machine to the 330TX Plus. That was actually one of my first experiences with Michael and Yvonne, is they were floating the idea of upgrading their 330TX to a Plus. And so that's what they ended up doing, and we built a relationship there. So that's something we do offer, but it does involve you sending the machine to us so that we can upgrade it, because there are some differences that we have to install, things like that. Okay, all right, cool. So on pattern number 1, I'm going to say number 9 still looks like the best. We're going to do, I think, one more and it'll be good. And on pattern number 3, they're all looking much better, but number 4 is right on the money. So we're going to choose number 4 and then uncheck it. So number 4 and number 9 on group 1. Okay, and I think that ought to take care of it. Okay, so for group number 1 was number 9, and for group number 3 it was number 4, and it was good. So we're going to do realignment, print. Now it's just going to print that grouping number 1, and we're almost there. Usually this will be faster, but you know, we've been talking in between, so not going at full optimal speeds like what you guys would be doing when you're by yourself. Let's see, I'm gonna come on over here and just kind of peek at it. Sometimes you gotta give the printer a little peer pressure. That was funny. Come on, guys. Killing me here. Okay, group. Looks like group number 1 is my favorite. Okay, group number 1. Realign. Wasn't quite good enough yet. Oops. Okay, looks like we have a couple of questions while this is printing. Let's see. We've heard from Daniel a little bit, so I'm going to call on Mr. Asfa first. Go ahead, sir.
Hi there, how are you?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. Really appreciate what you did last week with the help that you did.
Yeah, glad it was
just
helpful.
a little bit the situation that I have, but it just need to be adjusting the heights of the cable. But my question is, what you're doing right now?
Yeah,
it would be really nice if we can see the computer, what you're doing with the computer. That would be nice. Other than that, really, we're getting into really a good training, I would say.
Yeah, so what's happening on the computer, you can see by going to the knowledge base that we linked in the chat, and there's instructions printed there, and it shows you pictures of what I'm doing on the screen.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Sure thing. All right, Mr. Daniel, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't want to overstep or anything, so I was just wondering, does OmniPrint have any kind of platform or anything where we can post up BTF, DTG hardware and stuff that we want to sell?
We don't host one, but they do have a couple of pages like that on Facebook. Our Facebook group is more for, you know, group collaboration, sharing, things like that, and the sales end of things would get removed. But there's other pages on Facebook you could use that for.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, all right. So looks like number 6 is perfect. Joel, are you over there to switch to B cam? Our final one, we're there. So number 6 right here, right on the money. There we have it. So, so we're going to go ahead and click finish on the screen, and we are done. So it seems like the consensus is this was pretty useful for a lot of you guys. Hopefully it makes a difference. Okay, all right, so I will do finish. Boom. Printhead is aligned. So we're gonna have some nice crispy prints in the next Creators Live session, you guys. We're gonna go ahead and close it out. Make sure you follow us on all our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We're putting out a bunch of YouTube content all the time, coming out with all kinds of new services and products that I want you guys to be appraised of as we come out with stuff, of course, on Creators Live. You guys should be typically the first to know unless you really have a pulse on our socials. So that's all for today, guys. We'll see you next week, every Wednesday, 2 p.m. Pacific. Bye-bye. Woo!
Thank you.